But yeah, what other things? So I feel like in 2023, I've noticed a lot of the work you're sharing has seemed to like evolve. Like, how would I describe this? Like, when I think of your work, I think of like 2D glyphs that are on a variety of backgrounds that really accentuate something, whether it's a physical like this I'm wearing right now, whether it is clothing, or whether it is just canvas or paper. But what I've noticed over the last 6 to 12 months is like your use of color and abstraction seems to be evolving. And like some of these pieces are super in depth. It's not just like the 2D glyph, but there's like this almost three-dimensional, the shading components. Like, how have you been experimenting over the last year? Because I feel like I notice it just from looking at the work you put out, but I'm curious how you're thinking about it.
Yeah, well, thanks for saying that. Yeah, I definitely think abstracting has been a big thing on my mind. I've always had maybe two styles of drawing. One is kind of this very 2D bold line, envelope, peace sign, eyeball, flower. That became kind of like a staple of my artwork, kind of like think of it as like a tag, like, oh, you see the envelope, oh, maybe that's probably maybe a Vinnie piece or something. And I always I like that aspect of it, but you do it so much, and I'm like, it needs to evolve, and it can't be, and you get a lot of comparisons, and you get a lot of like, there's only so much you can do with it. And I did my letters project, and that's like the most proud collection I've ever done. It's like my kind of pride and joy, and I want to continue to make collections and things, but I don't want it to be the same as what was prior. So there's like this natural evolution to it. And then you put in different mediums and materials, like, oh, well, I got a new airbrush the other day. And then so experimenting with that, but using the baseline of my shapes and symbols to play with the airbrush, or Blender or Procreate. And the kind of list goes down with mediums and materials, which I think is probably one of my biggest inspirations. So I kind of have that one side of drawing and that one style, kind of bold lines in the back of my pocket, but it has to continue to evolve and change over time. So yeah, I've just been thinking about like, what mediums am I interested in now? So I've been working on like paintings. Like, what if I make a painting just with a brush? Like, I've never done that before, like unless I was in high school or middle school. So what does that look like now for me? Or what does 30 airbrush t-shirts or a bunch of ski masks look like? Or what would a new collection look like if it's 100 pieces, but I only use these digital materials? And I don't know, I get really excited about that stuff, and just watching the artwork evolve. And sometimes I'll just sit down with a piece of paper and just draw and for hours with whatever scraps and junk that I have around. Happens. Yeah, and I just make stuff all the time, and I've got like piles of stuff, and so it's all good. All the inspiration's there and the excitement and stuff, but I think it really comes down to, if I want to like mint something, or if it's a brand partnership, or like where I want the artwork to go. And if I have a kind of prompt or something that helps influence the style and kind of the visuals of the artwork that I want to choose. So it's always changing.